It's amazing, amazing. Like I never expected that the excavator would do so much work in one day.
On a parlé de 3 jours pour commencer.
La merveille en personne, c'est le gars de pelle.
On est bien sûr. Bon, on a regardé ça un peu. Il y a une belle place dans le bois, pareil, ça?
Ouais, c'est une belle place, certain, puis on est heureux, sauf que là, tu sais, tabarnouche, on a vidé l'étang, puis on a vidé le puits. Puis là, en arrière de ça, là, il y a un bon trou. So it was a bit of drama this morning because when the guys are here and they're telling us what they're going to do, we're doubling the pond. That's what we're doing. We need more water, and so we're doubling the pond. That means cutting trees. You know, Madeleine really cares about the forest and the habitats that are around it. So it's kind of a shocker for her to come here this morning and realize that we're going to be cutting all those trees and we're going to be spreading a lot of soil into parts of the forest. And yeah, so you can't make an omelet without breaking any eggs, and to haul all the earth out of sight in trucks, it's just too expensive, and it doesn't make any sense. It's like, it doesn't make even any ecological sense. So we'll see what it does. They've told us to come back at the end of the day, at the end of tomorrow, to perhaps look at the designs. But what we had, which was really beautiful, we'll have more water, but it's going to be really ugly for the next year or 2 or 3, and it's going to be up to us to restore the habitats afterwards. Wow! C'est fou, hein, Rose? Le trou? Wow! Look at this. It's amazing. Amazing. Like I never expected that the excavator would do so much work in one day. Like I left this morning after cutting down some of the trees, and then I'm coming back now, and it's just, we've easily doubled the size of the pond. And it's amazing. It's amazing. So I'm really relieved because, kind of jokingly, my marriage is saved, but this morning Madeleine really wasn't happy because when we came here and then, you know, the guys were there to make the hole and to cut the trees down, you know, we hadn't really finalized the plan, and she was expecting that we would cast all of the soil out of the farm so that we wouldn't need to cut more trees and expand the bank. And the excavator came and said that just, it's not possible. It's going to be, first, way too expensive, and B, you know, it's much more easier if we just dig that way and then cast some of the soil out there. But for Madeleine to cut trees is like, it's a huge no-no. We're trying to save the bit of forest that we have. So she really wasn't into it. And now she came just a bit earlier. She saw it. She's like, okay, feels good, looks good. There's still plenty of forest. We're good to go. And I was happy because yeah, this morning I wasn't sure it would turn out to be what it is now, and I'm really relieved, I have to say. Yeah, and when the excavator was telling me, no, just cast more soil down there, for me it made a lot of sense, because I know that there's a lot of spaces down there where the forest is not so nice, it's kind of swampy, and it's critical. We needed to get this done. You know, we need water for the farm. So yes, we need to cultivate ecology for the forest, and we like having a forest to be in, but without water, our project just doesn't stand. And so I think this is the first step to many steps, and it's the third time that we dig it. And so we just dig it a little bit. So this time we're doubling the size, hope it's enough. But obviously we'll need to do more to save water and to just be more efficient with our watering. But you know, we feed a lot of people with this farm, and having a nice supply is vital to what we do. So I'm feeling kind of relieved in the end. It looks good, feels natural, the bank is nice. And I think the trick was the fact that he had a really big arm. Like, this is a big machine. Some of the people that I consulted about digging ponds, they told me, like, get the biggest excavator possible, and that really saves a lot of cost. Qu'est-ce que tu fais? Qu'est-ce que tu fais? So Rose is saving all the little frogs. So we're facing this problem now. You know, our little farm in the Northeast is going through a rough drought, and you know, we're doing all this work to make sure that we have enough water to feed, to water the crops. But you know, for me, when I think about this, we're definitely not the only one, and we're definitely not the first one to be going through such a drought. And it just makes me realize to which point, you know, having water to grow crops is a fundamental. Without it, it's just, there's nothing happening. And I have in my mind, you know, all these farms that I visited in California and elsewhere where they're just using so much water in a very, very dry climate. And I'm feeling like this is part of something that it's going to be really major moving forward, just for the farming, our farming community, like managing water, making sure that we have banks to capture it, making sure that we're using it wisely. But it's never about not using it, because if we want to grow healthy crops, if we want to feed people with local, small, organic farms, ecological farms, you know, we need water. And you know, in my book, we need water more than, you know, people that are washing their cars or their driveways or whatever. It's just like small-scale farming is such a big part of the future. It's making me really understand the value and the importance, because to be frank, it's really the last 3 years that we've had shortage of water. But before that, we've always been good. We've even had excess water to deal with, needing to install drainage tiles to make sure that when there's flash floods, we're not, you know, submerged by water. So it's something that's really changing in my mind, but I think it's something that's really changing globally. But we're feeling it here. I'm going to show you some of the stuff that we do to conserve the water. There's so much more that we could be doing, but you know, there's a start for everything. So the first thing that we do is use a lot of these drip tapes. So, you know, drip tapes, the beauty of them is that you can water your crops with just a little bit of water that goes directly in the root zone. So you're not kind of spraying everywhere and just, you know, watering stuff that doesn't really need to be watered. So it's dropping the water directly at the roots, where the plants need them. So we use a lot of these drips, more and more every year. We're putting blocks under drip, you know. We also have low impact sprinklers that we use on the farm so that they have low GPM, so they don't need as much pressure. So another important part of our water on the farm is this frost-free hydrant. This is a huge lifesaver for us. It's actually the well. So this is the well. We get the water that we drink in the house and also for washing the veggies from a well. And I don't know how deep it is, but it's been a good well, except for the last 3 years. In August, we've ran it dry. And at first we used to water all our greenhouses from the well. And obviously we wash the veggies from it. And then, you know, there's also the house and then the washing machines and all of that. But this year, because of last year, one of the moves that we've made is to not water the greenhouses from the well, so that, you know, we'll have water for ourselves and also to wash the veggies. And so we've put up this big, huge tank that we fill from the pond, and I'll show you that in a minute. But that was one of our major moves that we made this year to conserve more water, and we still got the well to run dry. And that was actually when we were on a week vacation, my wife and I, and then leaving the farm, everything's good. 3 days later, the crew calls, no more water in the well. So this is an important piece. Then it connects to you know, the nursery where we use the water heads. But from there, it's really the house and the washing station. And then there's also on the barn, on the house, all of the roof is connected to gutters. And the gutters, they drain into the first pond, which is the swimming pond. It's also safety for water that we have. So that's a lot of square footage. You know, this building is 40 by 100. So that's a lot of water catchment capacity. But, you know, we need to do more. Then one thing that I've been thinking about, and then I need to get perhaps a design to make sure that it's good, is like the way the land is sloped. For the longest of times here in the Northeast, we would want to have all the excess water, you know, channeled away from the growing area, especially when we have flash floods. But now with the water scarcity, what I'm thinking is that I just need to capture it. So I need to channel it perhaps away from some of the growing area, but to channel it in places where I can pump from it and then use it back when I need it. So I might need to reconfigure some of our landscape, perhaps dig, you know, drainage wells that would connect to the pond. And that's some of the work that I might want to do, you know, this fall or next spring. I'm not totally sure. But so you see there's a big pipe. That pipe connects to the washing station. And so all of the water from the washing station is, you know, channeled, and it goes into a ditch where we've really put a lot of shrubs that can filter the water, and then it goes back into the first pond. Again, this needs to be retweaked. And this year, the other thing that we did was to connect the big greenhouse. There's a lot of tomatoes. You know, it's amazing the amount of water that it takes to water one greenhouse like that. It's about 1 tank a day. Okay, so that's just a lot of water. And the plan is to connect it to the gutter. Somehow that's going to probably go into the ground, and then we're going to connect it to the gutter so that even when it rains, then that's like a free bonus. Otherwise, we're pumping from the pond all the way up here and filling that with that, and then it goes on the system for the drip inside the greenhouse. So obviously, you know, there's so much more that we could be doing. Is it having swales? Is it landscaping, you know, the farm in certain parts to really capture more rainwater and keep it? Is it to have more reservoirs like those that are perhaps buried or stacked, and then when it rains we can fill them and have, you know, like batteries, just like backup of water? I don't really know what the end situation is, and I'm researching and talking to other farmers and really thinking about how they're dealing with this. And again, sometimes I feel a bit foolish because for the longest of time, a lot of growers in California or elsewhere in the States, they were facing with this like 15, 20 years ago. But now it's at my doorstep. I need to deal with that. And I'd be very curious to know how other growers, or you listening to this, how are you dealing with shortage of water, and what's your strategy to bank water or to store it or to make sure that when there's a drought, you're not left out with any water. So I'd be very curious to hear that. If you guys want to leave comments, I'd like to read them. But at La Grelinette, it's a small farm. We do our best. I think we do a great job at growing those veggies. But man, the water shortage has been a big struggle for us. If you want to learn more about the farming techniques that we use here at the farm, check out the Market Gardeners Masterclass and join a community of experts worldwide that are talking about market gardening and that are serious about it. And if you want to join the community, check out the work that we do at Growers & Co. I hope you're well. This is it for this week. Leave us a comment. Don't forget to subscribe, like the channel. I like doing this and we're going to do some more. I hope you're well. Jay, I'm out. Farm on. Hope it rains where you are.
Every Tuesdays is the same tradition. Every Tuesdays. It's volleyball time.